This lesson is going to cover a scale that's probably the most popular scale, the most widely known amongst guitarists. Generally, if you've been playing for a month or two, you've already been exposed to this scale. So we're looking at the C minor pentatonic scale. Look at diagram 6. You have your roots and your fifths, right? And then we have the flat 7. At this point, this should be pretty familiar. You know that flat 7 is always a major second or a whole step lower than the 1. We then have our minor third. So everything up to this point has had a major third. We covered C major pentatonic, C Ionian, C Lydian, C mixed Lydian, C Lydian flat 7. All of those scales had a natural third. We now move into the minor tonality. Then our 4 and our 5. Now you should have recognized that 4 is always a major second below the 5. Do you see how we have these building blocks that are constant through these different modes, and you just modify certain notes? And then you have that minor third. So let's explore our intervals. By the way, you're going to see something. Here's C minor pentatonic. So if we start with the 1, you'll always have a minor third interval between the 1 and the flat 3. Then you'll have your major second intervals between the flat 3 and the 4, the 4 and the 5, and the flat 7 and the 1. And then the other remaining minor third interval will be between the 5 and the flat 7. So if you know anything about pentatonic scales, you understand that the major pentatonic scale can also serve as a minor pentatonic, which means that if you're looking at this as C minor pentatonic, it would also be the same as E flat major pentatonic. Just like back when we, lesson 1, we did C major pentatonic, that's the same thing as A minor pentatonic. Okay, so let's just play over this, but what kind of chords? Can we use this scale over the chords of the previous lessons? Well, the problem with that would be, obviously, if you had a natural 7th in a chord, you're not going to play minor pentatonic over that. It's going to sound terrible. You could play the minor pentatonic over some of those mixed Lydian voicings, some of the Lydian flat 7 voicings, but we're going to set it up with some minor tonality. I'll comp against the track, and I'll narrate what I'm playing in terms of scale degrees so you can see how we're setting up this tonality. And this is for you to get your rhythm playing against the track, to be able to throw it down on your own. All right, so here we go. The guide tones are going to be the flat 7 and the flat 3. You see what that does? That gives us our C minor 7 sound. I could take the power chord and I've got some real strong comp. Let's go ahead and shut off the tape, the track, and I'll show you these moves. And you only have the 3rd string plotted out in diagram 6. Well, if you don't do your homework, you're going to get a little lost right now. Here is our C minor pentatonic scale in the 3rd string. If I want to start, for example, from the flatted 3rd, I can then just transfer that right over. You're going to see me do that right now. Just make a little music. I just have to. Okay? Bear with me. All right, so if we look at our flat 7 and our flat 3, that's going to occur in 2 spots. And if you've viewed a number of my courses, you'll see I talk about these guide tones constantly. And you're just inverting them. Up here I have flat 7, flat 3. So then I'll invert them, flat 3, flat 7. And there I'm just using legato slides, so I might... Just a little trick thing there, you can have some fun. We'll do it with different fingers. And obviously intonation can get kind of weird. More super sustained even with a clean sound, okay? Then your power chords, well, you should see those. You only have 2 inversions of those, right? Either root 5th or 5th root. So if we put all of them... Do you see how I'm getting some great comp going? And then if I want to get legato... Let's play against the track, and I'm just going to play some of those legato ideas. And I'm fingering it with the first and second fingers, or I may switch over to third and fourth. I like that because your little finger's smaller than the rest of them, and it fits a little better. All right, here we go. Just improvising. So I'm going to go off on those tangents. You know I'm going to do this. So here we go. Minor pentatonic. You heard me setting up some sounds. It wasn't just as barren as just guide tones, root and fifth, and your guide tones. And by the way, if you put all that together, that's a C minor seventh arpeggio. You got 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. So all those things I was playing on the third and fourth string, for the most part, were coming from either the power chords, of which you have these two, or the guide tones, which you have those two, right? Then you saw me play some voicings, different things. I am seeing those from the different minor pentatonic scales. Now, I've covered those in a lot of my courses, and there are 5 forms, but our point here was that you want to stay in this tonality. And then occasionally I threw in a 2, okay? Well, that's not in the minor pentatonic scale. That's actually coming from a Dorian or an Aeolian tonality, which we'll get into. But if we were to solo over this and just use the minor pentatonic scale, it's probably going to be one of the most familiar sounds you've ever heard. And that's what we did. We used the minor pentatonic over that groove for the earlier portion of super sustain. All right, I'm going to play over this and finish it out. Minor pentatonic will be our subset for the next 3 modes, and it's important you see this in a linear sense. Okay, and here we go. There I'm playing every other note. Hammer-ons and pulls. Go to a different string.